Welcome to the Abolitionist Round Table with your hosts Del, Phil, and Janice. Come on in and take a seat. You're invited to join the round table. Call 734-822-1600 to get into the conversation. And now, your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
And good morning. This is the Abolitionist Round Table, and this is your host for this morning, Phil Stargell. And across from me, there are, on my right, the great former mayor of Detroit, Michigan, Janice Daniels.
Good morning.
And on the left, is that left of center or?
Well, let's call it opposite of right.
Yeah. And that's Dale Marsh over there, and we've got a pretty good show for you this morning. There are some real bad things happening in this world, and looks like it's happening to us instead of us being able to control what's going on. Just right quick, Mayor Janice, what did you think of these words? Actions predicated on violent talk toward Muslims will be prosecuted.
Well, that's chilling, and that comes from our top law enforcement agent, Loretta Lynch, Attorney General Loretta Lynch. And so I kind of wanted to see, who is she? Who was she? Mm-hmm. Where did she come from? Well, of course, she was educated at Harvard. Mm-hmm. Not surprising. And although her past doesn't seem to be radicalized, she certainly seems to be radicalized now that she's a part of the Obama administration. Yes, in fact, she used to work for the Federal Reserve Bank, so that's dubious at best.
Mm-hmm. What you think, Dale? What do you think?
Boy, I'm gonna tell you, Phil. Whenever somebody get around this administration, we see that they just like some of them terrorists. That chip go off in their head. Well, I believe that chip went off in her head. Yeah. This is something that she always had in there, and she just needed the right person to trigger that word. Yeah. But I want to say that Harvard. It's not that it's a Harvard education, because we have somebody that's a part of the round table. Our friend Alice Washington, did his law school at Harvard. Mm-hmm. So, mm-hmm. But and he in his position is not like this. But again, it was something that she had in her, and she just needed the right person to trigger it.
Well, what the thing is that I take it as a threat.
Yes,
because
it is a threat.
Yeah, and. Here we have just a terrible situation out in California where, people are celebrating Christmas. Mm-hmm. And here in comes two people and just start shooting up the place. Mm-hmm. And for that, people that exercise their Second Amendment right are made to be threatened with jail, with prosecution. This is a threat like no other we've ever faced, because this came from the top. It came directly from Obama. Mm-hmm. He is the first one that came out talking about, well, we're gonna try to figure out some way to go after legal law-abiding citizens that own guns, mm-hmm. and take their right to protect themselves and their families from them, because they are allowing people into this country that we have no idea who they are and what their intent is.
And that's a good point, what you said. They are allowing people in.
And they're going to punish us for their
that's right. And we see that they're not going to stop this allowing people to come in either. They don't want to put a pause to this at all. And
we're going to get into that as a solution to this problem. Derek, would you play that clip, because I think it's very important for people to hear this. This is a chilling clip. Okay, Derek, whenever you get ready.
This is True News Headlines. I'm Kelly Sloan. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, speaking in the aftermath of the San Bernardino shootings, says anyone speaking what she calls anti-Muslim rhetoric will be investigated and possibly charged with a hate crime.
Now, obviously, this is a country that is based on free speech. But when it edges towards violence, when we see the potential for someone lifting that mantle of anti-Muslim rhetoric, or, as we saw after 9/11, violence directed at individuals who may not even be Muslims but may be perceived to be Muslims. And they will suffer just as well, just as much. When we see that, we will take action. That I think we have charged 225 defendants with hate crimes offenses over the last 6 years, most of those in the last 3 years. Since 9/11, we've had over 1,000 investigations into acts of anti-Muslim hatred, including rhetoric and bigoted actions, with over 45 prosecutions arising out of that. I think, sadly, that number is going to continue. I think it's important, however, that as we, again, talk about the importance of free speech, we make it clear that actions predicated on violent talk are not America. They are not who we are, they're not what we do, and they will be prosecuted. So I want that message to be clear also.
One neighbor of the assailants says she saw suspicious activity at their apartment but didn't report it for fear of not being politically correct. This is True News.
That is the most chilling part of this thing, when you hear of a lady that is a neighbor and she was intimidated into not saying anything, and she may have been able to stop this thing from happening, because if she had reported that there was something going on over there, and the police had got in there and just happened to get inside, everybody in that house is going to jail, because what they had in there prior to the attack, probably was, there may be even some stuff right now that was moved in anticipation of doing more, because the police keep saying that they believe that they were planning another attack.
And the interesting thing is Loretta Lynch furthers that fear of telling the truth or bringing up issues where you feel someone might be harming our country or building a cache of weapons to use against our country. Our Attorney General says this rhetoric of hate speech against Muslims is what we have to focus on, rather than the cache of weapons that they're developing.
And what did the police say about the house? They said it's a bomb-making factory.
Right.
So, she had every right to say something, but she was intimidated. Now, I understand the intimidation, because there is an article, and I'm reluctant to read it because of what's said in that article. Because, I'm not afraid, but I'm not a fool either. These people will react to you saying certain things about certain people or certain deities or whatever they.
And who's most likely to be under suspicion? Talk show hosts.
Yeah.
Reporters of websites like Conservative Review or Breitbart or Drudge.
Yeah.
That's exactly who this administration is focusing on as the enemy. And it is in direct opposition of who the true enemy is. Like Daniel Horowitz states in an article on Conservative Review, this was an attack perpetrated by a Muslim extremist from Pakistan who we let in through the front door just last year and granted a green card this past July. How many more of these type people are we allowing in this country? That was his question.
Yeah, well, now we're going to expand on that also, but let's get in one of our callers here early in the program, because he wants to speak about Loretta Lynch. We're going to line one, and Mike from Ann Arbor. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, folks. First of all, let's, and the person who needs credit for this is Michael Savage.
Yes.
Let's stop calling this a regime, an administration. This is a junta.
Yeah.
We are now living under a junta.
I agree.
Okay? We now have a president who thinks he is God.
Yeah.
and we have a Attorney General who thinks she sits at the right hand of God. Mm-hmm. First of all, we have the right to free speech, and if Miss Lynch wants to enforce her junta edict, she's going to have to imprison 300 and some million Americans. Mm-hmm. Miss Lynch, go to hell, where you were spawned.
Yes.
You and your junta leader, you were both spawned from hell. Very simply. You know, we as Americans need to do something. You know, we've got a junta leader in the White House who is going to be protected for the rest of his life.
Yes.
His whole family will be protected for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. You know, when
By
Harry
guns.
Truman,
But
when Harry
what people with guns?
Yeah.
Yes, when Harry and Bess Truman left the White House, they got in their car and they drove back to Independence,
right.
Missouri.
Exactly right.
No
security
Secret
or nothing.
Service,
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
We are paying for presently Jimmy Carter. We are paying for old man Bush. Mm-hmm. We're paying for Bill and Hillary Clinton. We're paying for young Bush, and now we're going to be paying for the junta leader.
Yeah.
Okay? I think it's about time that we Americans say, you know, if you want to make these policies that we are forced to live under, when you are finished in the White House, perhaps, junta leader, you need to go back to wherever you were spawned and have to buy your own protection. I, as an American citizen, am sick and tired of paying for your protection and for the previous presidents. So then when you people are in power and you are trying to put your edict on us, you have to be very careful what kind of laws and what kind of pressures you put on us, because the day you are out, you will be the same as Harry Truman and Bess Truman were when they left the White House.
Yeah, a citizen.
I'm sick and tired of protecting the junta leader.
Well, isn't that the truth? And, you know, the background check that could be done on Barack Hussein Obama after he leaves office would be indictable.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you something. When that man leaves, and I say if he leaves,
right.
Because the way the junta leader is acting, the junta leader has no intention of leaving government. So we as Americans have to speak up. And Loretta Lynch, I'm sure you can find me. What I have just said is considered hate speech. Mm-hmm. Ma'am, the Muslims are the ones that are doing the killing. It is Islam that is doing the killing. It is killing Christians. It's killing its own people.
Yes.
What you do with your own people is your business. Do not kill Christians. We don't want to be killed by Islams. We don't want to be beheaded by the Islamists. We don't want to be killed by the Islamists. I do not want to swear to Allah. I do not want to live under Sharia. So if you don't like it, Miss Lynch, you know where I live. I'm sure you've already got this phone. You can come to my door. I'm 71 years old.